Super good. Certainly as I've been sitting here on the Global Horizons Koala News booth doing this podcasting, lots of people have been coming up and they've kind of mistaken me for Dirk, like because you've been off doing your meetings and stuff like that.
You're the much better looking version.
Oh, stop. Yeah. And it's been quite funny. They're like, "Oh, I love what you guys are doing, like incredible, the Koala News." I'm just like, I'm not the Koala News. G'day and welcome to Global Horizons. I'm your co-host for today, Rob Mulder, coming to you today from Wurundjeri country on the Kulin Nation in Melbourne at the AIEC conference. And this morning, he's brought me coffee. He's gotten a bike and he's made me a smoothie.
I know, incredible.
And he's an award-winning media personality.
Stop it.
Dirk Mulder. Thanks for joining me on the podcast, mate.
Good to be with you. Day 2 of AIEC, mate. It's amazing. Great to be in Melbourne.
First and foremost, mate, congratulations on the big award yesterday.
Thank you.
Media commentary.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm still a little bit speechless and humbled and all the rest. It's I mean, you probably more than most see what goes on behind the scenes. So it's been a lot of work for the last 12 months, and just truly humbled. It's really nice to receive the recognition. Obviously, you don't do it for the recognition, but it's nice to be recognised that the ideas that you have and the execution that you go through actually has, I guess, achieved what you set out to do. And the feedback that I've been getting around the hall, this past 24 hours has been that the Koala and certainly the Global Society as well are really filling a gap in the marketplace, which most people probably didn't even realise didn't exist prior to it. So it's really, really wonderful. And I mean, there's so many people to thank. I mean, the first and foremost is I just didn't do this on my own, right? Like there's so many people that sit behind me. So from people who have been mentors in the past, like Stephen Matchett from Campus Morning Mail, I owe a massive amount of gratitude to yourself, Tracy Harris, Brett Blacker, Claire Field, there's just so many people around the industry that I guess inspire me daily, and inspire me to do the things that I do as well. So mate, it's been an amazing 24 hours, and it's really nice to be here. I think sometimes being based in Perth, not on the East Coast, you don't get to rub shoulders with people as much. So it's mate, it's been energetic and inspiring, and it's just been great to be back around people again. So AIEC, doing good. What's
it like to get up on that stage in front of 1,600 of your peers? That must have been a pretty special moment.
I mean, it's...
You look like the rock star moment, up the stairs. Roar. It was awesome, man. It was great to see up there.
Yeah, I mean, I look at just... obviously it is, right? It's really nice to be acknowledged and in front of so many people as well. It's weird, though, like the stage experience. Like, you go up there's a lot of lights. So you can't really see this, you can't really see the crowd. And then when you're on there, you're obviously hyper conscious around, what you do with your hands and how you stand and all those sorts of things. So the one thing as I got off the stage, I realised that Ren Yi, who's the vice president who emceed the event, gave a whole spiel about the award. I didn't hear any of it. I was, so concentrating on putting the left foot in front of the right to make sure I didn't trip over. I didn't hear any of it, and it was really nice. I mean, Simon Ridings, who's the current president, presented the award, and Simon and I worked together briefly at Curtin University. So it was lovely to have a colleague and somebody who I've admired for a long time present the award as well. So it was a really nice experience, man.
Super good. Certainly as I've been sitting here on the Global Horizons Koala News booth doing this podcasting, lots of people have been coming up and they've kind of mistaken me for Dirk, like because you've been off doing your meetings and stuff like that.
You're the much better looking version.
Oh, stop. Yeah. And it's been quite funny. They're like, "Oh, I love what you guys are doing, like incredible, the Koala News." I'm just like, I'm not the Koala News.
Like I said, the much better looking version. Mate, like I said, again, I mean, we've touched on this in previous podcasts and in previous chats, but I write this stuff from, home office, at home, you pump it out. Unless you actually talk to people, you don't really get that feedback cycle. So again, it's humbling, almost embarrassing, to have that level of feedback and positivity around what you do. So it's been great. And it's weird. I mean, for the longest time, similar to yourself, I mean, you probably would have went through this. When you work for an institution, you constantly, of the reputation of the institution, you've got the business card, to sit here in this booth and look at, a brand that we kind of invented and your brand, and it's almost surreal, right? It's like a pinch yourself moment to be sitting here and doing this. And I mean, even just from the point of view when we first started talking with AIC about the concepts of this, to actually see it come to life, it's amazing. It's really, really good.
A lot of fun, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And one of the things, so we're sharing an apartment here at AIEC, and last night I came back and you were bashing out some stories, and you were saying to me, wow, like there's a lot of news going on right now, and you're up again at 5 o'clock, 5:30 this morning, bashing out some more stories. So how about getting into some of the news, some of the stuff that's going on? Because there is a lot going on, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, absolutely. I mean, obviously AIEC is a focal point for a lot of news kind of delivery. So, there's a lot of research reports and there's a lot of presentations that go on here where things break. There's a number of media releases that come through the week before saying it's embargoed, and so all of those things are now coming to light. So that, as well as, obviously the Minister spoke yesterday. We had the Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs speak yesterday. There's just a lot of activity going on this week. And again, the conference acts as a focal point for a whole lot of other activity as well.
Maybe let's start on the ministers. What do you make of their discourse?
I think Tracy Harris wrote up a story in the Koala which got published this morning. Look, I think the general view is that the government doesn't seem to be backing down from their line, although the rhetoric seems to be changing around it. So, it's really hard. I think for me, as someone who's kind of followed this from day dot and, fairly thoroughly, I feel like we're just in this period now where, again, the government narrative is shifting again. So it seems like, at first it was the housing crisis. We need this because it's the housing. Then we need this because it's integrity issues and there's bad actors and all the rest. Now it seems to be, well, this is better than 107, so let's just get it done. And it just doesn't. There doesn't seem to be the underpinning rationale as to why are we actually doing this for a solid reason. Like, 107's rubbish. 106 probably could do with some work as well. Do that separately. There is no reason to tie the two together. Like, I cannot see a connection between the current bill and, as bad as it is, and we've seen that through the Senate hearings, as bad as it is, connected to 107. Like, this is a political connection that's been made.
Exactly.
And it's a furphy, quite frankly. So, it's disappointing to see that narrative continues. Clearly, the government and the opposition continue to seek migration as a key topic at the next election. Mate, and we're caught up in the crosshairs of that. So, so it'll be interesting to see how it rolls out. 18th of November is the next hit date. It's when the Senate potentially will debate this, and we'll be looking at the order of business the night before and the morning of to see whether they will. I'm hearing different things. So I'm hearing that, even the government realises that this bill isn't great and that there may well be some appetite to push this down the road and not actually actualise it in its current form. So not to give anyone hope on that, because I think the biggest thing about all of this is the unpredictability of it, and it has been that way. 2 Senate hearings into 4, it's just been a bit crazy. Nothing adds up. 2 + 2 isn't equal 4. It doesn't equal 4 at the moment.
It's been interesting chatting with people around the conference hall here because, of course, we've seen a lot of these cap numbers and the like and read some of the stories online. But it's a different equation when you're actually talking to colleagues,
Absolutely.
Some of whom you've known for 20 years.
Correct.
And they're telling you, in fact, I've heard redundancies. There are people here who said,
University of Canberra just axed 200 jobs last week. So
yeah, there's people here who are just like, I don't know what's going to happen. Or I've even spoken to some colleagues who have said, look, hate to tell you this, but I've just been made redundant.
Yeah.
Which is terrible.
Oh, it's horrible.
So, but this is sort of feels like it's the leading edge.
Yep, absolutely.
But amongst all of that, there are always some good news stories out there too. What have you seen either around the expo hall here that's grabbed your interest, or in sessions or in conversations?
Well, mate, let me go back to the awards in the opening plenary. I think, when we, myself excluded, but when you think about some of the people that received awards and Sarah Lightfoot's received a leadership award, and she's been in the sector for a very long time, and it's really great to see colleagues like that acknowledged for the work that they do. Study New South Wales, NEAS have been working on projects that were applauded. It's a wonderful time to be able to sit back, and I don't want to say the awards are rushed, but we almost need to inject some of that good news kind of stuff more consistently throughout the year and recognise, the good work that is being done, because sometimes it just gets swept under the carpet and the issues management takes over.
A Koala News Awards Series, Dirk.
Oh, there you go.
2025. Just sowing that seed.
There you go.
You know what? How about...
Heard it here first.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
I heard it here first too.
Let's jump to something a little bit different. Last night, you and I were at the happy hour, the IDP happy hour, and I took my mobile recorder around and spoke to a whole bunch of different people about their highlights so far. So let's jump to some of the feedback from some of the delegates themselves.
Sure.
It's been a great day. It was great to hear from both the ministers. I'm not entirely sure that they're going to be fully listening to our inputs as a sector, but at least it was positive to have them attend the event and to meet with us and understand our concerns.
Such an awesome chance to get to collaborate with peers in the industry, hear so many unique insights, trends, and valuable takeaways just from people all throughout Australia and internationally.
Seeing the Adelaide University out there loud and proud at AIEC for the first time, and it feels fantastic to be able to see the dream come together and actually feel and see the brand in market, and it's really there, so it's been fantastic.
I'm enjoying the conference, love it. Highlight for me is a chat with Bosco from Global RevGen, all the things that he's doing around AI, around, tracking creatives, media plans, etc., and actually optimizing all of the campaigns for the success of the institution and for the audience. So, yeah, love it.
The biggest takeaway for us was having a student voice on the panel today. We're spending a lot of time talking about policy and changes, but it's really important to also understand the most critical voice in the sector, which is the voice of a student.
It was an amazing conference. We get to see many education providers. We discuss about the policies, the new policies are coming in. Oh, that was amazing, fantastic, yeah.
My favourite session today was the geopolitical impacts on institutions in Australia this afternoon. Really great interaction, really great presenter, really enjoyed it.
For me, it was the Learning Abroad Fireside Campsite one today. Just really robust, passionate conversation about where learning abroad is going.
Really engaging speaker and good graphic material as well, nice slides.
And a highlight for me today was serving Haig's chocolate from Adelaide on behalf of the new Adelaide University. It was good to represent the new institution and to see how excited everyone got about chocolate.
It was great to go to the diversification session, hear about kind of inspiring about just connecting more with different channels in different countries and working more with families.
Really enjoyed the day, enjoyed a session hearing about policy impacts and insights around the student outcomes and how universities are dealing with that, and that's allowed us to probably mitigate some of the challenges that other universities have had.
The highlight of the day has been the caricature artist at the Flywire booth.
You can't afford to miss the Australian International Education Conference, happening from the 22nd to the 25th of October at the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre. AIEC's the place to meet over 1,600 international education delegates from Australia and overseas. Build your own learning schedule, gain insights from sector experts, new research findings, and spark ideas at lively discussion sessions. Plus, there's plenty of networking opportunities, from the Expo Hall to brain dates and social events. Make sure you're at AIEC 2024 in Melbourne. Learn more at aiec.idp.com.
Welcome back. Some great stories in there, aren't there, Dirk?
Oh, they really are.
And it's so good just to hear the different experiences of different people. Yep. And once again, 1,800 odd people here. Everybody's having a unique experience, which is really cool. So good to hear some of those.
For sure.
Rest of the week, what's it looking like?
Well, I mean, today's kind of business day, right?
It's business day.
Yesterday was kind of lead-in day, and welcome ceremonies and a lot of that. Today seems to be business day. I know my calendar's pretty much back to back today. So yeah, business day, and then tonight. Mate, tonight it will be the night. I know to take a slightly left tack, it's one of the lighter nights of the year, which is I think we all need at the moment, and I think there'll be a few people blowing off some cobwebs tonight. Hollywood Nights is the theme of the dinner, so looking forward to seeing what you're wearing. You obviously and you obviously are one of the ones to look out for, along with Alex Spadinsky. But yeah, mate, it should be a great night at Marvel. I can give it away. Everyone says James Bond. I'm just wearing a tux. I'm not the dress-up king like you and Alex are and go to great lengths, but I'm quite happy to put on a tux and doll it up for tonight. But yeah, really looking forward to tonight and being able to just kick up the heels a little bit, have a few drinks and enjoy the night with with lots of people who, you walk through the hall and you see people and you go, mate, yep, love to catch up, got to run to something else. So tonight I think is the night where we're be able to spend a good 5-10 minute block with a whole bunch of different people that I haven't been able to do during the week.
I do remember, I've been to many conferences now, but I remember a couple of years ago being on the dance floor and seeing this covers band, just looking at this group of people going nuts and just saying, this doesn't usually happen. You guys are really into it. Yeah. They're used to kind of having these sort of staid
totally.
conference groups where people kind of mingle a little bit and maybe you've got a handful of really drunk people dancing and they're just like, what the hell is this conference about? And we're like, we're international educators. We know how to have a good time too.
For sure.
Getting dancing.
Absolutely.
And so beyond this week, Dirk, what do you reckon? Obviously you've said 18th of November, so we're waiting to see if this legislation goes through. But what else is coming up between now and the end of the year? Kind of feels like that we're running down, aren't we?
Yeah, we sure are. I mean, there's a whole bunch of conferences coming up. So there's SIMPLED, which is up on the Gold Coast in November. So that'll be a good one. That's, I guess, an education agent kind of based forum. I see, I think of the other organisers behind that. So that'll be good. That's being held at Griffith University. Day long. Again, some really good speakers. I think John Chew speaking up there. So for anyone who's interested in that, that's going to be a good one. ISANA is coming up in December. That's being held in Adelaide this year. They've got some really good deals going in terms of group bookings. So I think if you pay for 3, you get 4. So that should be a good one. And then IEAA, I mean, there's a whole, we're on the rundown of Christmas, right? So I think the Young Professional Networks have Christmas parties and that state-based. SISWA and Study Perth have got some stuff going on over in WA. So, while AIEC is probably, I don't want to say the crescendo point, there's still lots to look forward to before the end of the year and lots of opportunities to get together, learn a little bit more. And like you say, as legislation drops and as key policy decisions are made between now and 1 January, which obviously is a go-live date, or the proposed go-live date for CAPS, lots of opportunities to get together and figure out how this is all going to pan out.
Isn't it bananas to think that we could hit that go-live date and there's actually no legislation in place? I mean, that remains to be seen. But imagine, if we're actually already implementing this stuff and it hasn't actually been legislated. It just seems completely ridiculous.
Take a step back. Could you imagine doing this in your own business? Nothing's set in stone, and yet there is millions of dollars being spent on computer system upgrades, changes, all the rest. And this could all be wiped out by the stroke of a pen. This could be the biggest waste of money in, I won't say the history of the government because there's probably been bigger ones, but
somewhat.
Yeah. But it's preposterous to think that this in a modern day governance structure, how money can be being spent on things that haven't yet been approved.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Incredible.
Crazy.
Actually, just as you were talking just before, you'd mentioned IEAA, and of course the AGM has now been held.
Yes.
Voting has closed,
yes.
So I presume early next week we'll probably get the email that comes out announcing the new IEAA board members.
I reckon it'll come out tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
It normally comes out the day after. So, yeah, I think from memory, the AGM's held, voting's closed. People are kind of the people who won and lost are kind of notified informally.
Yep.
And then once all that's done, the public notification comes out. So I'm anticipating that'll happen sooner rather than later.
I'm super curious. There was such a strong field of
really
names on there. And once again, it's an amazing experience to be here, seeing all of our colleagues, but then to have so many of those people with so much talent putting their hands up
that's right.
to represent us in our national body is a real positive, so hats off.
And look, I don't want to look at it half glass full, but there's so many good people who are going to miss out. I think, there's, in terms of the general board delegates, I think there's 3 positions up, and there's a whole bunch of, almost all of them could do the job really, really well. So there's going to be, quite a bit of disappointment coming out. For those that are successful, obviously wish them luck for the coming term. For those who aren't, I honestly think it's just a numbers game, and don't get too distraught because there's good opportunities coming up in the future as well.
Awesome, mate. Well, been fantastic hanging out with you this week at AIEC.
Back at you.
Back at you. Well, awesome, Dirk. Been great hanging out with you this week.
Back at you, Rob.
Have a great end to the conference, and look forward to catching up on the next news episode.
Mate, looking forward to it. Thanks again, and it's been great, mate. I love what you're doing here with the podcasting. It's been brilliant.
Appreciate it, mate. Last thing I suppose is I'm now going to insist that every time we sit down to podcast, I don't know how you're going to get it to me, but you now need to bring me coffee and a cake and a smoothie.
A smoothie that's been blended by me sitting on a bike pedaling.
For those of you watching on the video, I'll drop in the footage of Dirk early this morning on a pedal bike,
in my
blending
suit.
My smoothie in your suit.
I love
Fantastic. It. See you next time, mate.
Good on you. Cheers, bro.
There we go, mate. You're working for my breakfast. Keep it going, Dirk.
1, Dirk.
The Global Horizons podcast is brought to you by the Global Society, Australia's learning abroad support company. For about 10 years, the Global Society has been supporting Australian learning abroad teams with technology, training, consulting, strategy, marketing, you name it. We all know that learning abroad is time-consuming and complex, so if your team could use a little bit of extra support, reach out to the Global Society, globalsociety.com.au.
Today's episode was recorded on Garigal land in Sydney, and we pay our respects to elders, past, present and emerging. Thank you. See you next time.